Yes, Emma, what can I do for you?
Now Lola and me have an access to the virtual class.
Don't worry, that's exactly what I'm saying. We are not going to, yes, again, I'm going to repeat again. Some students are starting to have access to the virtual platform, but not all the students have access to the virtual platform. Therefore, we will not have our communication in the virtual classroom until everyone has access in the virtual classroom. I'm going to repeat. All the communication we're going to continue having will be through our email. Do not pay attention to, if you're starting to have access to it, do not pay attention to it. I'm going to share it again, okay? As you can see, only a few students have access, but not all of you. So do not pay attention to your virtual classroom yet, because here in this list, we should be able to see all the students, but we can't. You see, only Emma, Ludmila, Lola, but it's not fair. So we cannot be working on two different parts, some in the platform and some with email. So please make sure you're understanding. Give me your thumbs up if you understand, because everybody right now, some people have access and some people don't. We will continue our communication through our email, institutional email. Emma, I don't know if I'm making myself clear. We will continue to have all communication, all submission of assignments and everything via institutional email, because not everyone has access, okay? Hopefully, I do hope by next week, everybody should have access, hopefully. Okay, but until I tell you otherwise, let's continue our communication via email. Therefore, just like I did at the beginning, read your emails. Please read your emails, because it's the only way you can be informed and you can be communicated about everything that is happening. All the assignments are there per week, week 1, week 2. I'm trying to be as organized as I can, so it's very easy for you to identify. Week 1, notes, reply. Week 1, reflective essay, reply to that. Week 1, report, reply. That's it. Week 2, class notes, reply. Week 2, reflective essay, reply. Week 3, report on the movie, reply. Okay. And now for this week, I'm going to do the same, either tonight or tomorrow early in the morning. Week 3, class notes, reply with the photos, the photographs, the images of your notes, including the mind map you created last class, okay? Week 3, reflective report, essay. Remember, your reflective report is how you're feeling this week, what you realized, what caught your attention. I promised this class is going to be really surprising for many of you. And week 3, report. The report for this week is going to be reading a website about persuasion and answering a real case scenario. It's from the University of Minnesota. So your report is going to be answering 2 questions. I'll explain that in a minute. And justifying your questions with some of the theories the article presents and some of the theories we will present in class and some of the theories we already present last class, okay? So again, all communication will continue to be through our institutional email. Do not pay attention for now to your virtual classroom, okay? All right, and I will keep sharing our PowerPoint presentations and everything through via email, okay? So don't worry, we're fine. Okay, let's go on then. Now let me check then the attendance. Actually, in the list, I do know I have, by the end of this week, no, I think it's gonna be on Monday. I'm gonna send you how you're doing with your submission of assignments and everything. Remember, we only have a few more weeks until our quiz and the end of our academic period. So here we go. Tonight is, oh, it's August 31st. I can't believe it. Diana Cortez. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Diana. Diana Montiel.
I'm here.
Oh, yes, you're here. Thank you. Diana Elizabeth Vega. Not yet. Okay. Antonella.
Here.
Thank you, Antonella. Paula Eva.
Here.
Thank you, Livia. I know you're here because I already talked to you. Lola.
Yes, hello.
Hi, very happy to see you. Dante.
Yes, teacher, I'm here.
Hi, very happy to see you, Dante. Maria Jose. Thank you, Maria Jose. We can still hear that noise in your microphone. I don't know what's going on. It's okay. Emma. Yes, because I already talked. Ludmila. Is Ludmila here? No, not yet. Vanessa.
Hi, teacher, I'm here.
Thank you. And Montserrat Rubio. No. Okay. All right. So let's begin, guys. First, I'm going to ask you to take out your notes from the video we watched last class, okay? And we're going to have our 10-minute break. Don't worry. I'm not going to stress you too much, I promise. Let me see. Where are we? Here we go. Okay, I'm going to share the presentation now. Here we go. Okay. Please take out your notes from the video. Check out your mind map. Okay. And I'm going to be asking your names. I'm going to be calling out your names. And I would like you to share with us two of the most important or the most relevant information you found when you watched this video. I know it was a long video. So I warned you, right? But he shared a lot of important information. Remember, I told you he was going to mention this. He was going to explain how after the World War II, the importance was for everyone to develop the economy. And therefore, a lot of strategies were developed to help the economy worldwide, mainly in the United States. But then we were taught that the pursuit of happiness was related to how much we consumed. But the objective, that's why it says how a noble goal became somehow distorted. Then he talked about some social engineering strategies, the manufacture of consent, which is a very interesting theory, and finally, the public mind in the making. So I would like to ask, please, I'm going to call out names. So I'm going to be taking notes for participation. So tell me two things that caught your attention or that seemed very important for you. And let's begin with Diana Montiel. Oh, Diana Montiel is not here. Diana Cortez.
No, yeah, I'm here.
Oh, you are here. Sorry. Diana Montiel, go ahead.
First he had like a triangle from two different models of happiness. The first one was the first one has like the pursuit of happiness in the top, and in the other corners has the freedom and responsibility. That model happened in the 1950s.
Right.
But then we jump out to instead of the pursuit of happiness, he called the new happiness the consumerism. Then instead of having freedom, we had conformity. And instead of having responsibility, we were like overworking. So we need to stop being manipulated by the manufacturer and the consumerism.
Okay, very good, Diana. Very good. Thank you. Really appreciate it. And I'll come back to your points in a minute when everybody has shared. Okay, thank you. Would you be so kind to share, Vanessa?
Teacher, I can't watch the video yet, so I can do the activity.
Okay, thank you. Antonella?
I wrote that brands connect products with ideals. Honestly, I watched the first half. I didn't watch it like the complete.
Why not,
video,
Antonella?
because my earphones were not working. So I said I was going to watch it after class, but I didn't watch it.
Okay, guys.
Miss?
You know, yes, I'll be with you in a minute. I'll be with you in a minute, Emma. You know, I'm very understanding. I am very understanding, and I'm very open to understanding that things happen. But when you are assigned a task and you do not complete the task and you do not make an extra effort to make sure you completed your task, that says a lot about you. I understand having problems with the internet. I understand having health situations that I know, Vanessa, you shared with me, but that doesn't mean you had an extra day to catch up or to send me an email or to say, you know what, teacher, I'm sorry, but can I get a link to the video or something? So I do have to share this with you. I am a very understanding teacher. And as I told you, I understand many of you are perhaps taking this class because you thought it was just an optional class, and it was going to be like, you know, I don't need to make any effort or anything. It's not. And it's very disrespectful. So if this happens again in the future, you're not in trouble as long as you communicate with me. If you send me an email, if you let me know, not only this happens, but I am interested in completing the task, teacher. Can you tell me how can I complete my task? Can you help me? Can I meet you after class? Could you? Because when you are given a task and you just forget about it, for whatever reason, I understand. But in a job market, that cannot happen. You must always show that you're really interested, that you'll listen, that you're committed to something. Okay. So for this time, this is going to affect your grades. Of course, it's going to affect your grades. Not because you didn't do it, but because you didn't reach out to me. Again, we all make mistakes. We all assume things, but don't ever assume things if you don't show an extra effort or an extra interest. I do have emails from some people saying, you know what, I'm having this personal situation. This is happening, teacher. Can we talk? And I have made some exceptions with some students. I'm not going to come here and share with you with which students or anything, but at least these are people who have reached out. You know what I'm saying? But when you don't reach out, when you don't send me an email and I just didn't do it, that's not an excuse. And I'm not going to accept that in the future. That's going to strongly affect your grades in the future, not right now. You are all okay. Why? Because we are all learning. We're learners, we're students. Me too. I also make mistakes in my grad school. I wish my teachers could give me a chance. They don't. If I make a mistake, they automatically, you know what? You got a 0. but you do, because I know how it feels. It feels horrible. So you are all okay. You're all okay. But in the future, if this happens, let me know what's happening. It's not an excuse to say I didn't do it just because I didn't do it. Okay, thank you. Okay, Dante, can you share please 2 of your ideas from the video?
Yes, teacher. Well, I have something here about the how people use the marketing to sell things. I remember something about the cigarettes.
Right.
They talk about
The torch
how
of freedom.
yeah, women couldn't, they are well not seen to smoke cigarettes, but how they use that, like in that year they were fighting for their rights, so people use that to to sell
That is
to sell
correct.
these cigarettes. And something about the American dream that I remember, they talk about freedom and responsibility. That how the man goes to work, and they are better, or they can provide more for the family if they
Right.
earn more money, and they can buy more things for their family.
Actually, Dante, I'm so glad you're mentioning this as one of the points that caught your attention, because you know what, for everyone, this should be really interesting for all of us. We live in a world that is very different from what the world was like 50 years ago, right? Or 70 years ago after the war, right? In which it's not that women were not smart or that we women didn't want to be important, but it was how things happened. As you just said, Dante, men were meant to bring money, to make the economy grow, right? And women just had that role. It's not bad, or no one said that women were less or anything. That was just the role we were playing. And one of the things that I like about this video also, and I wish if you didn't get it, please watch the video again. Please do it over the weekend and really pay attention, really sit down and really concentrate, because there are so many little things you can get from a video like this, because it's history in the making and you are part of that history. Okay, so could you please share? Let's go with Paula Eva. What caught your attention from the video? 2 points.
Yes, the video, I wrote down that he advises people to advocate for sustainable happiness and profitable integrity in order to stop being manipulated by the manufacturing of consent. And he gives 4 main steps to do so. The first one is to jump out of the American dream idea of consumerism and overwork and being just conformity, just conform with the kind of people that media or people tell us to have. Then the second step is to fact check, because we are in the
As I
internet
said, we believe
age,
everything, right?
so-
Go and check. Yes, right.
Then vote integrity over party, overall political party of
Right.
preference. And the fourth step is to fact check our purchases. So to buy in order to satisfy a necessity, not a desire.
Now, this is, again, it's not bad to satisfy a desire as long as you're aware of that this is a desire. This is okay. I'm going to pamper myself. I'm going to tell you an example, and you're going to get to meet Mr. Jenkins in some other class when he comes as a guest. We're very smart when making decisions, but we're teachers, and teachers, we don't make a lot of money, right? We have to be very smart with the economy, right? Because even though we are happy teachers and we enjoy what we love, we have to be very careful with the economy. And the other day he was saying, you know what? Yes, we're usually very smart with our expenses. But he said, I am aware that I am a victim of marketing, but I am aware of the fact that even though here at home, we have a Starbucks coffee. Actually, this is a Starbucks decaf coffee. I still want to stop by Starbucks and buy me my venti with oat milk and 2 stevias every morning I go to school. Why? Because it's something I am aware, and I am conscious of the fact that I don't need it. Maybe it's expensive, but I deserve it and I want to do it, but in a conscious way. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that just buying what you need and then buying what you desire is wrong. Please erase that from your mind. That's not what we're saying. It's just being aware of that fact. Okay, very good. Thank you so much for sharing. Montserrat, could you share what you learned or 2 things that may have caught your attention from the video?
Yes, teacher, it's interesting how he used the psychoanalysis for create the publicity or relationship in the companies.
Monse, can you turn on, everybody, can you turn on your
Teacher?
camera? Yes. Yes, Monse.
¿Sí me escucha?
Yes, of course we do.
Ah, ok. Es que estaba hablando y es que hay mucho
Yes.
ruido.
Can you turn on your cameras? It is a requirement to have our cameras on. Thank you.
¿Listo?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Monse. Lola, can you share one thing that maybe you liked or you thought it was interesting from the video?
Do you hear me?
From the video, yes. Remember the video we watched last class? From the mind map?
Yes.
You
Okay.
have a mind map.
Yes, here.
Yes. Can you share one idea from your mind map, please?
Comment?
Can you share one idea from your mind map?
Yes. I remember that the guy who talking told about in the beginning of the video the social engineering strategy, and he talked about in 1928 of about the company of cigarettes who tell to women smoking is the freedom, etc. But it's totally not true. And yes, that's it.
That's all right. Very good, Lola. I'm going to move on, guys, and I'm going to be going back to the video as we go on with the theories because we need to advance. Thank you. I really appreciate you sharing, and I hope I get to read some of your thoughts, opinions, and feelings in your reflective essay today. Not today, by the end of the week. If you hadn't had the chance to watch the video thoroughly, in the presentation, you have the link, and I'm going to add the link to the video again, so you give yourself the chance to really watch. Sorry, again, it is actually a very interesting video. Some parts may be kind of boring, but there's a lot of information that may be very useful for all of us to understand. So, based on this video, what should be...
Miss,
Yes, go ahead.
sorry, can I say my point of view, please?
Yes, go ahead. But I was going to go back to you, but yes, go ahead.
Okay.
No,
I
go
can
ahead.
wait. It's okay.
No.
Okay.
If you want to share, go ahead and share.
The things that caught my attention were the manufacturing of consent, and I like the an idea, and I agree with that. It's when you buy, you vote, and I'm very yes.
I understand. And this, again, I'm going to go back because this is very important. Let me go back to here. The manufacturing of consent, and this is huge, guys, is if I make you believe it is your decision, even if I influence you to make that decision, but you are sure it was your decision, you're not aware of how influenced you were, you will always commit to that decision you made, because psychologically speaking, we want to be right, we want to be correct. So this manufacture of consent is actually how many marketing, advertising, and even influencers and many people act. And what we're going to do for homework tonight is that you're going to learn how to use these theories and these strategies in a good way, in a real sense. Let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about your homework. So when we present the theories, you keep thinking about this. Write it down. For homework, you're going to prepare, or not prepare, but you're going to imagine, you're going to give a speech in the university, okay? You're going to give a speech and you want to convince people about something, that something is bad. I'll explain in a minute. Which strategies of persuasion and influence do you think you would use in your speech? You don't have to write the speech, but just tell me which strategies or theories do you think you will use in your speech so you convince people in the campus about this thing that is horrible and we should stop it in all universities. You see? I'm giving you a little bit. I'll explain more and more in a minute. Okay, be patient, be patient. I'll explain more in a minute. So the reason why we should understand this, it's because we want to use it in a good, positive way. We want to persuade. We want to inspire people in a good, positive way. All right? Okay. So let's begin with some of the theories. These are the main theories. If you want to take notes, yes, go ahead.
I had a question about the past image that you have about the social engineering. I made a research about it, and I understood that they are like techniques that people use to know or have information that is not visible, that will allow you to predict or act according to the information you have. Is that correct, or I got it wrong?
Not necessarily. Let me tell you. Social engineering is when we create a campaign. Give me a minute. It's an example. We create a campaign in which at the end of our campaign, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, everybody is going to believe something, either if it's true or not. And the social engineering is sometimes, and you should know this because you do actually in psychology, there's a lot of research. In research, you do actually a lot of social engineering. Engineering means you create an artificial, for those who saw the Jonases, the movie The Jonases, that's a social engineering case. That's exactly what happened. If you haven't watched the movie The Jonases, please watch it, Dante, because that's actually, you're studying psychology and you're going to do your major in marketing. It is a must. That movie should be a must for you because it's going to help you understand that is exactly a social engineering strategy being used for marketing, for selling, etc. You're gonna love the movie, okay? And you get back to me next week, okay? But it's creating something without people noticing that they're being part of something, that they're being part of like a mass public opinion trend, but without noticing. I don't know if I kind of answered your question.
Yeah, thank you, teacher.
Don't worry. And again, we're going to talk about it more as we talk about the theories today. Okay, thank you. Okay, guys. So let's go on. I'm going to skip system theory. It's not so important, but this is the first theory I would like you to take notes of. The social brain hypothesis. The social brain hypothesis, guys, again, our objective, remember, is just understanding the basics. You do not have to master it, but just understand. I'm going to read it and then I'll explain it. The social brain hypothesis posits that cognitive demands of sociality have driven the evolution, okay, and have enlarged the brains of primates and some other mammals, which means, actually, when I was doing my PhD at Universidad of Guadalajara for learning and cognition, it was amazing because I had two fields to focus on, the biological part and the sociological part, saying, are we social? Because biologically speaking, our brain, our minds, we want to survive. And we survive when we are in a group. Usually, if you think about back then when we were cavemen, if you were a lonely person, you wouldn't survive. The getting food, the hunting, the protecting yourself from predators, etc. So our brain created the necessity to be social, to be always in groups and to belong. Remember, Dante, you were talking about belonging last class? Well, there is a theory, there are several theories, but one of them says that it is biological. It's a biological need to belong. And because it's biological, we feel comfortable when we're part of a group. We feel at ease. We feel happy. That happiness, that at ease, are chemicals in our brain telling us, yes, keep being social because you're going to survive if you're going to be social. Is this making sense? Again.
Actually, sometimes we think that we have evolved a lot, but we actually not, because many of our way to be or our conducts are influenced by this kind of information that we have in the brain, or the stimulus that we have in. So we really didn't evolve like we think that we did.
Actually, that leads me to the other field. The other side says our social need is not biological. It's just social. Okay, somehow it's not biological. It's not an instinct of survival. Okay, that's one part, biological part. But the other one just says it is a social need to be part of something, because when we are part of something, we feel at ease. Remember that sense of belonging you were talking about the other class. Okay, so again, you can research each one of these theories in depth later. This is not a psychology class. Okay, this is a public relations. We're trying to understand how all the strategies that we'll talk about next week and the following week, where they come from. Okay, when we talk about persuasion and convincing people, etc. Okay, now remember in that psychology of belonging, and I think I'm going to keep answering your questions, my dear Dante. I'm going to give you a few minutes to read this because it's very important, guys. I'll give you 2-3 minutes to silently read this. Why are people rejected? And how do we deal with this rejection? Because we don't want to feel rejected, right? It makes us sad. It makes us not feeling that we're part of anything. We don't like rejection. And the marketing, the advertising, and the public relation specialists know this. So if we make you feel you're not being rejected, you're part of something, you are more likely to be part of the group. Okay, I'll give you a few minutes. Don't read it all, just scan it. What keywords do you see here that when you're trying to make someone feel at ease, you should take in consideration? I'll help you. For example,
About
we don't want,
the
yes, about this slide. For example, we are, for example, why do we follow social norms? Why don't you right now stand up and start yelling or screaming like a crazy person?
because in some groups there are rules, there something that make the conduct to be from away, like standing rules or that kind of stuff.
And you could do it, but then you will be seen as an outsider. You will be seen as someone, he's kind of weird, he's kind of strange. And then at the end, that might mean that you will not be, you know, taken in consideration maybe for parties because he's going to start yelling, or you know what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to explain is we don't want to feel rejected. So in our messages, it's very important we make sure everybody feels I'm part of you. Okay, I am trying to be I'm trying to understand who you are, even if you're different. There are other keywords here. For example, cultural, ethnic, or racial differences, gender diversity and disabilities, or even physical attractiveness can fall into this characteristic. Representation is important because, for example, we want to feel part of something. Let me ask you a question. Why are young kids getting their hair painted in different colors? Pink, purple, blue, green. Why is this a trend? And why do people follow this trend? What do you think?
Because they
Remember?
see famous people do the same, so they follow them in their social medias, and when they see a picture or something, they want to copy that.
Because you want to belong, because you want to be part of something that is socially accepted or you think it's trendy, and we do that. I'm not saying it's wrong, but that's exactly how it works. The psychology of belonging, it's also one of the theories that help us in understanding why we should be very careful with the messages we send in public relations, okay? There's another theory that gives support to public relations, and that is the social exchange theory. Now, this is going to sound horrible because this theory comes from the economy, from the field of economy. But you know what it means? That we all unconsciously commit to a relationship as long as we're getting something back. That's it. It sounds horrible. I know, it sounds horrible because it sounds like, oh, we are somos interesados, or, you know, we're always trying to, but it's the truth. It is the truth. Humans are going to weigh the cost against the benefits while forming relationships. Write this down. Please write this down in your notes. This is huge. According to the social exchange theory, humans are going to weigh the cost against the benefits of forming relationships. Again, most of the times it's unconscious. It is unconscious. We don't do it like, I wonder if Ludmila can become my friend because, you know, she looks like she's a very open person. And because I'm an introvert, I could probably benefit from being with Ludmila because maybe she might. No. That's too conscious. We don't do things that way. Okay. We do it unconsciously. Okay. We do it unconsciously. Unconsciously, we wait What is the benefit of me being a friend with Ludmila, for example? Or what is the benefit of me, again, it's just an example, okay? And this social exchange stipulates, this is very important, that if I don't feel I'm gaining or I'm getting something out of this relationship. Now, of course, this probably makes sense with a boyfriend or girlfriend situation, but it's the same with the consumer product or with the public relations when you're trying to communicate with your publics, with your employees, with people outside, with an organization, with your sponsors, etc. Is this understood? Is this clear? The social exchange theory. It is unconscious. Again, I'm not going to get very deep into it because we don't have time. Okay, and our break will be here in about 7-8 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead into the next theory. Oh, sorry. This is also part of the social exchange theory. I forgot I had added this example. This is again, I might repeat, this is part of the social exchange theory. The social exchange theory says that there are usually 4 steps in how we feel we benefit from a relationship. And again, remember, the objective of public relations is improving relationships, right? So that's why we understand, that's why we're trying to understand this theory. Sampling. People consider the potential cost and rewards of a new relationship and compare it with other relationships available. But again, it's unconscious. Bargaining. You give me, I give you. Okay? If you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. But again, it's not conscious. Commitment. Each partner knows how to get rewards. Oh, because you were so nice to me, now I'm going to be so nice to you. Because you bought me a present, I'm going to buy you a present too, etc. And institutionalization, meaning norms develop within relationships, which establishes partners of rewards and costs for each partner. Now, it's not bad because we all do this in every relationship we usually have with our boyfriend, girlfriend, mom, dad, brother, sister, etc. A real example, if your sister, for example, if you're a girl, or your brother, if you're a boy, wants to borrow one of your shirts, one of your jackets, then if you say, okay, that's okay, you can borrow it. Next time, you will feel like next time I ask for also for a permission to use one of the jackets of her, she has to say yes. That is the bargaining social exchange. Okay, is this understood, guys? These are just examples. Okay. Now let's go to another one. This is the last one before we go to our break. Okay. Theories of persuasion and social influence. I'm going to read this because it's very important we understand this. Our thoughts and actions are influenced by other people, whether we are passively observing their behavior or actively complying with their requests. Persuasion is a form of social influence in which an audience is intentionally encouraged to adopt an idea, an attitude, a course of action by symbolic means. Now we have to stop here because this is basic for public relations. Remember, in public relations, as opposed to marketing and advertising care about sales. They care about, as we saw in the video. But in public relations, my job is to improve relationships. And international public relations is improve relationships by adapting to the characteristics of each region, of each country. So imagine, remember when I told you not everything is dark, not everything is negative, and I also told you learning about public relations is a superpower. It's like Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility because you will learn. Now you know, now you're more aware, now you're more conscious of you as a consumer, but also how you can use many of these theories to create messages that can encourage people to adopt positive ideas, positive attitudes, positive course of actions or symbolic means. That's exactly what I wanted to make like a pause here and make sure you understood this. When we talk about influence, when we talk about trying to persuasion, let's change our mindset into how can I use this in a positive way. Remember when I told you guys learning about this is going to make you professionally much, much better because you can inspire now more people. We're going to see how this works when we come back from the break. But before we go, is this clear how the theories of persuasion and social influence can be used for positive messages, for positive things? And actually, a lot of people use them for positive things. Not everything has to be horrible. As we already talked about, we have this image that marketing and advertising is, oh my God, they have been manipulating us. Not necessarily, because there are a lot of social public relations campaigns. Tonight, for example, when we come out from the break, we're going to watch the Dove, for example, campaign. Remember, we talked a little bit about it on the first week. We're going to talk about it again. And it's about sending a message. Actually, the brand, you don't even see the soap in the commercials or in the communication. It's more about sending a positive message. And we're going to talk about that. And we're going to see some examples in video when we come back from the break. Okay? All right. Very good. So it's 5:50. Let's make the meet back here at 6 o'clock, please. All right? 10 minutes of a break. Thank you. Bye. Give me a minute so I can go get my glasses because I have no idea where I left them. 1 minute, please. Okay, guys, back. I'm going to be sharing in our chat 2 videos we're going to watch to try to put all this theories in real situation. And these videos, I promise, are going to be fun. The first one is going to be so fast. You told me you needed fast videos. I found a very fast video. I usually use it for, I've been using it for a couple of years. The worst public relations situations for companies. It goes so fast that I'm going to have to stop for a minute and explain the context of how these mistakes were done and why they were so horrible. But now that we're learning about these theories and we're trying to understand how to use persuasion, how to use all these strategies in a positive way, now it's going to be easier for you to understand why these were horrible mistakes. So the first one we're going to watch is called The Worst PR Mistakes. I'm going to share the link, as I always do, here in our chat, in case you cannot watch it, you cannot hear it, or you cannot access the closed caption subtitles. However, I'm going to do my best, as I have done before, to show the video here. Okay, so let's try doing it. I'm going to pass it for a minute and give me thumbs up. I'm going to stop it and I'm going to go back. Okay, give me thumbs up if you can hear the video. Now, while you listen to the video, because this is going to talk about the 10 worst case scenarios, make sure to write in your notes 1, 2, maybe even 3 words, no more. What was the problem? What was the problem in each one of these 10 worst public relations mistakes? What was the most important problem? Now that we know a little bit about our theories, we'll continue talking about it. Okay, let's see if you can hear it.
They say there's no such thing as bad publicity. These blunders prove otherwise.
Can you hear it? Give me thumbs up. Yes, very good. Okay, so even though Dove is one of the best public relations campaigns we're going to watch a little video about later, in this case, this was very bad. And you're going to tell me why this was bad. Okay, here we go.
They say there's no such thing as bad publicity. These blunders prove otherwise. Welcome to Context TV, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 worst PR mistakes made by companies. Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at the most notorious, disastrous public relations moves ever made by major well-known companies. Number 10, Nestle CEO says water should be privatized.
Nestle makes the very best, N-E-S-T-L-E-S.
You can see how arguing that water isn't a
It's
basic...
like frozen.
Can the rest of you see the video? Because I can see it perfectly well, but I don't know if the rest of you can see it.
I can hear it, but I can't see it.
Turn off your cameras now. Everyone, turn off your cameras because I can see it. Turn off your camera, everyone. Right now, it's okay. You're not getting points deducted or anything. Everyone, turn off your cameras. I'm going to try to then stop presenting the whole image, and I'm going to present the segment of the image. Thank you, Dante. I'm going to go back again. Tell me if you can watch it. If you can't, interrupt me again so we can find another way to watch it, okay?
About our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at the most notorious, disastrous public relations moves ever made by major well-known companies. Number 10, Nestle CEO says water should be privatized.
Nestle makes the very best, N-E-S-T-L-E-S.
You can see how arguing that water isn't a basic human right could cause a little bit of controversy. The internet exploded in a fury in 2005 when Peter Brabeck-Letmathe, then Nestle CEO, called the right to water, quote, extreme, and called for privatization.
Extrem, würde ich sagen, wird von einigen von den NGOs.
Naturally, his opinion was immediately condemned, and Nestle's reputation suffered as a result.
There's a guy from Nestle who doesn't think water is a human right. I mean, that guy should be hunted down and shot.
Brabeck-Letmathe.
Yes, Emma.
I can't see.
Yeah,
And
it's still frozen.
Is it frozen? Then let's do this. Watch it. The video, it's 8 minutes long. Okay, it's 8 minutes long, and I added already the link to your chat.
Yes, thank you.
Open the chat then in another tab, and it's 6:06. I'll meet you here at 6:15, but make sure you're watching the video because I'm going to ask you. Okay, don't tell me, oh, I started watching, but I didn't finish. You're in class. So please make sure you all watch this video in your own computer or on your cell phones, okay? Let's meet here again. I'm gonna be here at 6:15. Okay, you may turn off your cameras or even disconnect if that helps you watch the video. Let's meet back here at 6:15. Bye, guys. If you have finished, let's wait for the rest of the students. Let's give 1 more minute, okay? Thank you. Okay, first of all, I have to tell you, I told you it was a very quick, it's very fast. And I know it's okay if you didn't understand all the 10 examples because they are very based on the North American context of this country. So it's okay if you don't understand many of them, okay? First, I'll go to Emma, then I'll go to Dante, and then you're going to tell me which one you thought it was the most, I don't know, the one that caught your attention the most, and I'm going to explaining the context of each one of them and why they were so big problems. Yes, Emma, go ahead.
Yes, for me, the big mistake is the mistake of Nestle, who said that the water would to be private.
Thank
Because
you, Emma.
there is many poverty and many problems with the water.
Right. That's absolutely right, Emma. As you talk about the examples, I want to mention how in most of these 10 examples you just watched, context is everything. Did you write it down? They said it. Context is everything. And if you say things that are not perceived correctly, see all the damage that can cause. I'm going to mention actually, before I go to Dante and to Vanessa, I'm going to mention the last example because that's probably kind of confusing. The director of the Radnor Group, he was the owner in England of a huge jewelry group, huge jewelry. They used to sell, you know, diamond rings and necklaces and etc. He said, why we give our products so cheap? Because they're crap. And later he says, I cannot believe how a stupid joke, he was making a joke. He was being funny, he said, can make so much damage because they lost millions of pounds in England after that. Because who would want to buy something that is supposed to be luxurious, saying that it's crap, right? So before we go on, and I'll be going to be asking you, just take this in consideration. You see how every word makes a difference, and not even the word sometimes the context or the intonation. I bet many of these examples we're going to talk about, they didn't even meant it, but not being aware of everything made them fall into these mistakes. Dante, which one? And then I'll go to Vanessa. Yes, go ahead, Dante.
The one that caught my attention was it was Dove diversity advertisement because I felt that was like an attack for the diversity of or the identity of the persons because they are assuming that they want to change. So that was like a big mistake according to this.
And do you realize, Dante, also, and everyone, I bet the creators of this campaign, it was not one person, it was a team of people. So how could so many people not see, you know, what was happening? That's why collaboration and teamwork is so important. How can I see this? How offensive it could be. Yes, Vanessa, which could be the one that caught your attention? Thank you, Dante. And then I'll go to Maria Jose and Diana Cortez. Go ahead, Vanessa.
For me, the worst mistake was made by the CEO of Lululemon because he talked about the body of the girls and he said that if you don't have the standard of the perfect body, you can't use the yoga pants, his yoga pants. And I think that if that listening and thinking that if you don't have the perfect standard of body, you can do or use something, it's so wrong.
Actually, let me tell you a little bit about the context of how he said it. I'm going to stand up because I want to show you, okay? I just don't want to be. People were complaining that in the yoga pants, this part of the yoga pants, the ones in the tights, they were not working because women were saying they get ripped, they get broken after 2-3 times that I use the pants, they get ripped. And in order for him to justify, he was trying to justify the quality of the yoga pants. He said, oh, it's because our yoga pants are not made for everybody, like everybody of women. If the women it's a little overweighted, then that's what happens. The yoga pants are gonna get ripped. Can you imagine saying that on national television? How offensive that is. It was horrible. And actually, I know still now a lot of these stores had to close here in Canada and the United States because of this. Imagine, it's really, really hard. Thank you. Yes, I said, Diana Cortez. Go ahead, Diana Cortez first.
Me?
Uh,
Sorry.
No, Diana Cortez first. Yes, Diana Cortez, not you, Maria Jose. You are after Diana. Thank you.
Okay. The one that I don't know. It was very insensitive. The one from Adidas because maybe the intention was like being I don't know like survive the marathon, but like the race, but like it happens cruel situation about a death. I think it was a bomb at terrorist. I
Yes,
don't know.
I'll explain the context.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was so insensitive, and I know that mm, playing with this or joking about that, it's not that cool because people died. So when you are joking or messing with this, it's like so I don't know. I don't know how to say the word, but yeah, maybe they thought it would be like to calm the situation. To I don't know what happened with their minds, but it was not cool.
What
And I think
happened?
it was the worst.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll explain. The Boston Marathon, I'm a runner. If you follow me on Facebook, you do probably know that I'm a runner. Anyway, I run half marathons only. I have never run a marathon, only half marathons, 10K, 15K, 18K. That's kind of what I run at least once a week. Anyway, so I follow these runners, Facebook groups and Instagram groups and everything because I don't I don't run in groups, but I am a runner. Anyway, so what happened is that, yes, there were bombs and a lot of people died and you were not there. You were children, but it was horrible because the cameras, it was live television. You could see people flying over. It was one of the most horrible things I have ever seen in my life. Like we saw it right there. It was horrible. And even if it some time passed, what Adidas did, they actually started trying to make this a trendy hashtag saying you survived the Boston Marathon. Very insensitive. Exactly. That's not the way to do it. And they said, oh, we apologize. But in all these cases, do you realize even if they apologize, the damage has been done. The damage has been done. There's no way back. And that's why we have to be so careful. All right. Very good. I'll go to Maria Jose, then I'll go to Diana Montiel, and then I'll go to Paula. Yes, Maria Jose, tell me which one caught your attention.
For me, it was the McDonald's one because I don't know, they do a hamburger like inspiring in the poorest, hungriest place of the world,
The
and
Mac
in
Africa. Mac
in
Africa.
Africa, yes, and it's like they're making fun of a whole country, and I think that McDonald's it's a company that have many impact in kids or many kids like McDonald's, so it's impressive how a company of that a company so huge can do things like that.
I don't think they realized, honestly, the problem because they launched the Mac Africa in Norway. because there are a lot of immigrants, and I do understand what they're trying to do. But the moment in which they launched that, you were not even born. But in the 80s, when I was a girl, the hunger in Africa, kids were dying. They're not dying anymore. There is hunger. There is hunger in Africa, but they're not dying anymore. And when this was launched, people were dying. So yes, it was very incentive. I totally agree. Diana Montiel, and then I'll go to Paula, and I'll come back to Vanessa. Yes, Diana.
The one that catch my attention was the dope one, but Dante already told that. So I'm gonna talk about the H&M campaign because I actually remember seeing this. It wasn't like it wasn't like so long. I think that 2018, something like that.
It's called The Coolest Monkey in the Jungle with the
Yeah,
black
but
kid.
I don't remember if in the video also appeared another kid with a orange hoodie. Say in the kid with the green hoodie saying the coolest monkey in the jungle was like despective because it was a black child. Is it correct that term? And the other kid was a white kid, and his hoodie said like something like an awesome tiger or something like that. So the comparison of the hoodies and the kids were the thing that were causing like problems and misunderstandings.
Right. Of course, Diana. Of course. I understand. Yes. And I am amazed you remember because this was a long time ago. But yes, I maybe you were kids, right? When this happened. Paula, and then I'll go to Vanessa. Yes, Paula. You're on mute, Paula. You are on mute.
No, I just wanted to say that it seemed to me that they were underestimating people, like thinking that people were stupid or something like that. But it's very dangerous, actually. It's like they set the tone for society, for the whole society. So it's a great responsibility to have that much power in your hands. So
let me add something before I go to Vanessa. Generalizing, labeling, or saying that everybody's the same, it's not fair anymore. It's not accepted in this new world anymore. However, having said that, and because I have lived in the States for many years, I have lived in Canada, and I have lived in Mexico, and I have traveled to other countries, I can tell you, most North American people, even professionals, unless they are very high-level academics, most professional people, North American people, have a great difficulty to see, perceive, and respect the differences, and these have to do with international public relations. That's why they need public relations agencies to come and tell them what they're doing wrong, because and it's not about being smart. Again, I must be very clear, guys. I'm not saying it's not about being intelligent or not. It's a cultural thing. Most North American professionals who haven't had the chance to travel abroad, to meet other people, are very close-minded, and they believe their reality is everyone else's reality. I'm telling you this because I've lived here for many years, and I know this. Canada is different. In Canada, people are a little bit more open because they accept immigrants happily. And here, immigrants are seen as illegal immigrants. So they have this perception about other people who are different to them, perhaps in a different way. They perceive them in a different way. And I think, again, this has a lot to do of why they make these mistakes. I'm not justifying them, but I'm trying to understand them. Yes, Vanessa, go ahead.
Going back to what you already said, that the damage is already, going back to the problem of Lillemans, I think he didn't dimension or his words can cause in the minds of many girls that they can think that if they have big thighs, there's something wrong with his body, and they can use these cool clothes, and they would feel so bad that can cause many eating problems, and it's so dangerous.
Thank you for sharing, Vanessa. Yes, Dante, can you tell us about what do you think it's a coincidence? Which one? The one I'm talking about the North American people? Is that what you're talking about? And
I
then
was
I'll go
talking
to
about
Lucia.
the one of the H&M's. I thought that it was maybe a coincidence that he's wearing that shirt, but I don't think so. And about what Vanessa said, it's really true what she said, because imagine a person that has already a trouble about his weight, and then the owner of this company said that. Imagine they can even like suicide or something. They are like really vulnerable in that moment, and they can do that, and it's really dangerous.
It's so irresponsible because these are open messages to the world. So irresponsible. Again, you don't know who's listening. As you said, a little girl, so many things. Yes. I'll go to Ludmila, then I'll go to Livia, and then I'll go back to Diana. Yes, Ludmila, go ahead.
Okay, I think the same that my classmate Tante and Diana, that Dove and H&M makes a grown commercial or podcast. Nowadays, we have the movement Black Lives Matter and present in the society, and I think that those brands respect the multicultural of the people. And I don't know, I think that we need to be concerned about all the movement of the society.
And if we're not knowledgeable, then do some research. I'm not perfect. I also do not know everything, but I try to research a little bit before I share my opinion. And you know how this is very famous now on social media, like it's okay to say, I don't know enough about the topic to give an opinion. That is something that we should be mature enough and responsible enough to learn how to say it. To say, thank you for asking me, but honestly, and actually, if you ask me questions that I don't know the answer to, I won't tell you the answer if I don't know it. I promise. I'll go and research it. Okay. But we usually tend to speak about things we don't know, we're not very familiar with. Okay, thank you. Livia, then I'll go to Diana, and I will finish with Antonella so we can go back to our theories. Yes, Livia.
The one who caught my attention was the second, about the KKK Wednesday, because even if wasn't their intention, they associated with a hate group.
Are you talking, my dear Livia, about the monopoly, the ghettopoly with the black people and the ghetto and the crack houses and those things? I just want to make sure I understood.
Yes, about the Ku Klux Klan.
Oh, the Ku Klux Klan, the Krispy Kreme.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yes. Oh my God, I can't believe it. But this has to do maybe a little bit with this idea that I'm telling you. Most, not everyone. Again, I've known people here that, oh my God, they're like really smart and they understand and they're very open to other cultures. But calling their campaign KKK Wednesday, when KKK means Ku Klux Klan. I mean, in here in the States, it's like, are you joking? Is this a joke? Are you seriously, like, no one noticed this? You're absolutely right, Livia. It was, I cannot believe no one saw this happening. I'll go then to, let me go with Antonella, and then I'll finish with somebody else who raised their hands. Yes, Antonella, which one caught your attention and why?
I think that all of them were pretty insensitive, but the one that caught my attention was Getopoly, because it was outright racist and it perpetuates stereotypes, and I think it's really bad. I don't know how they even thought of that.
Actually, I do agree with you. The worst for me, not saying the other ones are okay. How do they create a monopoly about the ghettos here in the United States, and selling crack houses and with robbery and assuming everyone it's like it's going to jail or something? It was horrible. For me, that is the worst. Let me share something Mr. Jenkins is taking some training because he's a teacher here in Seattle. He'll talk to you later. But talking about this racist situation, he just got a training session yesterday or Monday, I can't remember, in which the presenter assumed that because this is a low-level area outside of Seattle, he started saying, we need to save these kids from jail. We need to save these kids from a life of felony. We need to save this. And he told me, he's British. He's not American. He's not North American. He's British. And he said, that is racist. How does he assume? How can a presenter, a trainer, training teachers assume that just because most of this area is just a lower level area, that should be our focus? We don't see kids like that. I mean, we teachers cannot see kids as future, robbers or something. It's horrible. So imagine, Antonella, if this is happening right here, right now with a presenter. I think it has to do again with this fact that most people are not aware. And again, that's why I go back to being aware of things. Thank you for sharing, Antonella. Somebody else had their hand up, but I can't remember who. I'm so sorry if I'm missing someone.
It was me. Okay, now let's continue with the class.
Okay, let's continue. We're going to finish with the series very quickly. Okay, but I think it was so important that we share this because you're actually learning. You're actually learning exactly examples. So 3 ways to influence people. Okay, you appeal to their logic. One positive way to influence someone is appeal to their logic. Okay, for example, you will go to the rational part, you will go to the intellectual part, and that is one way you can influence. You can actually say, you know what, based on this author, based on this theory, and that's exactly what I've been sharing with you. The reason why we learn theories is that you can influence people by actually explaining there is a reason why we do this or why it is important to talk to our clients, to talk to our employees in this certain way. Number 2, emotional appeals. Connect with the message, with the goal, with the project. Try to find connections that go beyond what we can see. And that is an emotional way to connect and influence someone. And finally, in a cooperative way, you can influence by involving collaboration, making alliances, and making sure it's not only you, but somebody else, and this person is part of your group, is part of your whole family, we call it like that, even in a job environment. You can influence those people. Now, there are 4 keys to influencing people. Sorry. There you go. Okay. Organizational intelligence. You understand your information in a formal and informal structure, and that's why we're learning this. If you organize your thoughts, if you organize your ideas about how you want to share a message, how you want to convince someone, you're more likely to convince someone. Team promotion, promote your team, yourself, to create more visibility of your work you're doing. For example, your company wants to be heard of. Actually, the video we just watched, they start by saying, they say even bad publicity is good publicity. Not necessarily. And in this case, these problems were public relations problems, but they started as marketing and advertising situations that became public relations problems. Why did they become public relations problems? Because then the brand was seen in a bad way. And if we promote our company, if we promote ourselves in a good way, we can influence people in a positive way. Trust building. How are you going to influence someone if they don't trust you? First, you need to gain their trust. How do you gain their trust? Usually by making sure you're there, by making sure they're not left alone, by showing interest and care. And finally, leveraging networks, recognizing and cultivating the power of your network to create change. Again, by ourselves, we're not going to get as far as we can get if we do it collaboratively, okay? Now, in this period, I know we hate teamwork and we hate having team projects and those things. I know because here in my school in Vancouver, I end up doing all the work. So I understand. That's why I usually don't include a lot of team project in my classes, okay? However, towards the end of our semester, we're only going to include one project, but it's going to be done in pairs. Okay, it's going to be done in pairs. So everybody has to work. It's impossible to have somebody not doing anything, or you know what I'm saying. But don't worry, I'll tell you about that. And that's another way to influence people in this case. So one more theory, the diffusion theory of communication. Communicators in society with a message can encourage people that have strong opinions through the media and influence the masses. You know what this is? This is actually the diffusion theory of communication. It's how in a social system we adopt an idea, a behavior, a product, and this actually has to do with our influencers and all those people trying to share an idea, okay? Diffusion theory of communication says that in a society, we can influence and encourage people whatever way we want them to go, okay? Why? Because if people see that a lot of people are following that trend, most people will follow it too, as you said it at the beginning, okay? Also, this diffusion says, it's like iPhones, okay? The widespread adoption of iPhone is a very good example, can be broken down using the diffusion theory. For example, the creators of the iPhone can be categorized as innovators, while the first people to embrace a revolutionary idea are early adopters. So usually what it says is that if you have a new idea, totally new, you need to gain new adopters, and that's where the influencers come in. That's why companies hire influencers, because when the influencer tells you, oh, you should do it, everybody does it. So it's a diffusion, you see? We're defunding, estamos difundiendo, we're sharing little by little by little the acceptance of something, okay? I'm gonna skip the situational, that's not important right now. And systems, we have talked about it too. I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, I'm gonna share a presentation and you're going to read situational and systems, but right now we're not gonna touch it. It's not as relevant as the ones we talked. So, let's start wrapping the theories. This is the last class in which we're going to talk specifically about theories, okay? However, for homework, you're going to be reading about some theories. And I need you to understand the reason about learning this is that we transform each other. We're going to read this again. We saw this on the first class. If you were not here in the first class, this was in our first class. We transform each other in our environment as part of our dynamic system, which is always in motion. It's always changing. Okay, we transform each other through the communication phenomena taking place. And finally, we transform each other as part of the interaction amongst all systems surrounding us. It is our job, of course, that we transform each other in a positive way. Okay, but we are part of a society. We're part of this social world. We will always want to be part of someone. And that is the reason why sometimes, remember the last class when we talked about the biases? Okay, all those biases is not that we are not understanding things. It's just that we want to belong. We want to belong. We want to be part of the group, like the hair, kids getting their hair painted in different colors, and they do it because they want to belong. They want to be part of a group, right? And even the ones who said like, oh no, I'm special and unique. Well, guess what? You're part of the special and unique group. So you are part of a group too. Or even, oh no, I'm an introvert and well, you're part of the introverts too. So you also have a group, okay? So as different and unique as you can be, you always have people who you can relate to. And that's natural human nature, okay? Very good. Let me explain the assignment. We're going to finish our class in 5 minutes, but let me make sure, please take a screenshot of this. So even though I will share the whole presentation, this is important. You're going to read, and I'm going to show you right now. Let me, okay. There you go. Can you see a website that says persuasion and overview? Give me thumbs up. Yes, very good. Okay. Now, again, you're not going to become experts. I don't want you to become experts. I'm going to go down so I can read the questions that you should answer. Don't worry about this. Don't freak out. I'll explain it. This is going to be your exercise. Imagine you're giving a speech to a group of college fraternity or sorority members. Imagine you're going to give a speech at UNLA to the rest of your classmates from your licenciatura, from your area of specialization. And you're going to talk about why hazing, this is a new word for you. I want you to look for the meaning of hazing. I'll tell you a little bit. Hazing means encouraging words of hate, encouraging words of negative words towards a group. It's kind of like bullying in school, okay? That's hazing. But it's also, for example, putting pressure on your friends to drink alcohol when they shouldn't. That's hazing. Everything that has to do with a negative connotation in a group. So we promote something negative, kind of negative behavior, that's negative. So this is very important. You're not going to write the speech, don't worry. But imagine you're going to give a speech about why hazing shouldn't be tolerated at UNLA. This is your opportunity to use your power of influence. Now, I'm going to repeat. You don't have to write the speech, but listen what you're going to do. Explain the persuasive process using some of the three theories. There are some three theories of persuasion in this chapter, so you have to read. Yes, you do have to read, okay? So, again, you're not going to write the speech. Is this clear? You're going to explain how do you intend to persuade your audience about why hazing shouldn't be tolerated in your school. This is a wonderful opportunity for you to make a change in your school. But imagine if you use some of these strategies, some of these theories of persuasion, you're going to be more likely to be listened to and to make a change. Finally, make a list of strategies that you could employ to ensure that your audience analyzes your message using the central root. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the roots. You're going to read about it, but don't worry about that. Okay. Just write a list of strategies that you can use to make your audience analyze your message, you know, and how are you going to be more effective? I'm going to go back because it looks like a lot, but it's like 3 pages. Okay. For example, what is persuasion? You don't need to copy paste what is persuasion. Don't tell me what is persuasion. I already know what is persuasion. Okay. But you're going to tell me, based on this, you're going to read about attitudes, about values, about beliefs. Oh, so you're going to write. Well, now that I understand how important beliefs and values are, one of my strategies is going to talk about the views and values of my audience. And I'm going to mention some of these things, blah, 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 blah. And then you're going to read about change behavior, why persuasion matters. And these are the theories of persuasion. Social judgment. I'm not going to read it right now. You can read it. Okay. I'm going to go to the number 2, cognitive dissonance. Actually, for the psychologist majors, you already know this. Okay. It's usually, for example, I'm going to read this because this is important. Cognitive dissonance is an aversive motivational state that occurs when an individual entertains 2 or more contradictory attitudes, values, or behaviors. For example, you know you should be working on your speech, but you want to go to a movie with a friend. In this case, practicing your speech and going to the movies are those cognitions are inconsistent with each other. So cognitive dissonance, how are you going to make sure your audience is listening to you when they don't want to be there in the auditorium listening to a person? They have other interests, they have other ideas, they have other motivations. How are you going to make them not bored? Because they have other things in their minds. You see? And finally, this is the last one. Personal relevance and personal involvement. If you're able to share and talk about personal examples that may be happening in your school, then you're more likely to be listened. And imagine if your speech is persuasive enough, you can make a huge change because then all the audience will be part of your group. And together, I bet you're going to be listened to or heard by the school or the university president. So you see, you're going to be using that. Again, I'm going to repeat again. You're not going to write the speech. Focus on this question. Question number 1. Don't worry about question number 2. Imagine you're giving a speech. Explain the persuasive process, and you can use some of these theories or some of the other theories that we have talked about. How do you plan to convince your audience? 1.5 pages, 2 pages at the most, maybe 1. That's it. Just like our regular reports. Now give me thumbs up if the instructions are clear for the reading report. Very good. Remember, the due date for reading reports is Sunday night. The due dates for reflexive essays and for your class notes, Saturday night. Okay? So I'm going to be sending again some videos right now. Some emails just for you to remember. And in the email for report, I will add again the link for this reading. Again, I don't want you to be experts. I don't want you to be expert. Don't memorize, don't copy paste, but try to use some of the things we have been talking about to write a report about how you plan to persuade your audience. Are instructions clear? Very good. I think you know enough. If you haven't watched the video that we were supposed to watch last class, watch it, because you're going to actually get ideas from there. You're going to get ideas from everything we have done. From these top worst mistakes, you can do the opposite, okay, of what they did, right? So there are many things now. You have a lot of material to talk about. Go back to our presentations and the videos we have been watching, and you may refer to also some of those. Remember, the writing report includes a cover page, the body of your report, 1.5 pages, 2 pages at the most, and finally, a separate page with references in which you should include this page, but also if you're going to talk about videos or if you're going to talk about some other parts included in your reference, okay? Thank you very much. Now, finally, for those people who haven't catched up, if you have missed classes, if you had to leave early, I will give you until this coming Sunday to catch up. Please, I will give you until this coming Sunday. Send me an email. Yes, teacher, I saw now the video. Now I can give you my feedback on the video. Yes, teacher, I haven't done my reflexive essay. Here it is. Everything is going to be on the email. No one's grades are going to be affected. No one's, because we're learning. Sunday is the due date, okay? Now, next week, please make sure if you have doubts or questions, you ask me, because I'm here to help you, okay? Now, also next week, we're going to decide our office hours. Office hours, we're going to be Fridays, but I know it's very difficult for some people to come and join me on Fridays. So let me know if you would like me to stay a little bit longer after classes on Mondays or Wednesdays, and I'll solve any question you may have, okay? Very good. That's the end of this week. Thank you so much for being so patient. I know we saw a lot of things, but I hope you learned something more this week from where we were last week. Okay, thank you. I'm very proud of you, and I'll see you next Monday.
Teacher, see you.
See
Thank
you.
you. Bye. Good night.
Bye.
Teacher.
Thank you.